The Sentinel is known to be reliable, fearless, disciplined, consistent, courageous, motivated, and skillful.
So do what you feel passionate about. Take chances.
All these qualities start from the mind. Your mind can be your worst enemy or your most powerful weapon.
The world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
Is this the dagger?
Learn how to achieve greatness and tap into the Sentinel mindset.
Good morning, everybody. So excited today, as always. We have an incredible guest on the show today. Why is he incredible? We're going to get into that. But one of the things about this gentleman named Lucas is that Lucas started his career path with Sentinel. Were we your first job into the country?
Yep. First job.
So we were the first job for Lucas in the country. He came from Brazil. And the moment I met him, I interviewed him. And, everything about Lucas that he was saying in his interview, everything that he was outputting was positivity. There was this aura of excellence that was oozing over him.
Can you go into those stories? I like stories. And
Well,
I know
yeah.
we're jumping in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's not much of a story other than the fact that,
Like when you say oozing excellence.
excellence, it's just like he was eye contact, a firm handshake. He was extremely hospitable. He was, without him saying it, he was basically saying, Mike, give me this opportunity and I will show you what I can do.
Amazing.
Okay, and I can't describe those specific words, but that would be the vibe. And then Lucas came in, and from day one, he literally, like as soon as you looked at him, you would say, he knows what he's doing. And on top of that, Lucas also disclosed that he wanted to be a police officer. And back home in his hometown of Brazil, he actually worked in the police department.
Yeah.
And
riot police specifically.
and so yeah. And that's a very, very different level of experience.
So
when it
all you
comes.
rioters out there in Toronto.
Exactly. so he had this background. He came in, and I said to Luke, I remember I said to him, I go, look, man, I appreciate your experience, but we need to see who you are here. And how you output. And like I said, from day one, he went in, and he was just a hit. He was LeBron James, okay?
Yeah.
He was LeBron James. He came and he was a hit. And then I think it was not even a year, Lucas, he reached out and started applying to police forces, and he was snagged by and I tell you, you are so lucky to have this man on the force. And that's who we're interviewing today. We're interviewing Lucas Lima, an existing employee of Sentinel who is now representing the beautiful nation of Canada. He is representing the GTA, and I know from feedback, we've already spoken to some people within the regions, like Lucas is just killing it. And to me, today, what we're going to do on the Sentinel Mindset podcast, we are going to dive in to find out
How to ooze,
okay,
professionalism.
and without even saying anything. Exactly. And then the goal for anybody listening to this show right now is that if you can follow in the footsteps of what Lucas did, I'm pretty confident to say these words that you should have absolutely no trouble landing a career job, specifically in policing. Ladies and gentlemen, Lucas Lima.
Hey.
First of all, thank you guys. Thank you for the kind words. I hope I am like that.
These big shoes to fill, even if they're your own, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much everything that you said, I remember perfectly. The whole the first day, the interview that we had.
What's your side? What's your side of the story? Would this have been our Yorkville office?
This would have been our Yorkville office, yes.
Okay, so give us an idea of what was it like for you coming to the country,
and
coming
look,
to this
you can bring the mic a little bit closer to you, because everyone in Brazil wants to hear you as well.
Too far. So I got here in Canada. I arrived in September 2019. Mm-hmm. I had about a month where I lived pretty much as a tourist.
Okay.
I was just hanging around with family.
That's nice.
And just like
a freeloading month.
Yep,
right?
pretty much it. Just like I went around, the immigrant services to try to get my resume sort of in the Canadian style. Mm-hmm. And I remember in mid-October, I applied for the first, you know, started applying for jobs. And I remember I applied for Sentinel, was one of the first companies that I applied for. I applied for 3 companies, I think, or 4. And my first interview was with Sentinel a week after I applied. So I came into the office. I spoke to you.
Yes.
Had the interview with you. And the funny thing is, on my way into the building, I
Yes.
got a call from another company saying, "Oh, let's set up an interview." And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I went upstairs. We had the interview.
Yes.
And I remember, like, the last time I had a job interview was probably 12 years prior to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny.
Because I was in policing, right? In Brazil
Yeah.
for 9 years. And before that, I had public jobs that in Brazil you don't get an interview. It's a
Yeah.
whole different process.
I mean,
Right.
that's a good thing. Some people have a lot of experience doing interviews. That's not really
Yes.
a good thing.
I
Okay.
did not know what to expect.
Yeah.
I was expecting to come in and, you know, like, what's your favorite color?
Yes.
If you're an animal, you know,
Yeah.
Where would you be? Yeah, but
those
instead
kind of
he- Instead, he
questions.
put you through that 500 push-up challenge.
And we just sat down and had a talk.
Okay.
And that
Wow.
for me was like, I remember as soon as I was out of the building, I called my parents in Brazil, and I said I had the best interview because I just had a talk. It wasn't like, you know, it wasn't all structured at HR son of like,
Yeah.
it was just a talk. We spoke, and I had that intuition, like, this is a good place. And I called, when I went downstairs, I called back to the place that offered me an interview on that week, and I said, I'm hired.
Wow.
yeah. Yeah.
I'm gonna work somewhere else.
You're home.
Yeah,
You're home.
yeah.
At
the
least for
same
now.
day.
Yeah.
And
Do you remember anything about that talk? I think that's amazing. So you weren't asked, so what are your strengths and your weaknesses, and how are you using your weaknesses to develop the strengths so that we don't know your, you know what I mean?
Yes.
That all-
Yes.
it was amazing. We just sat down. You asked me about my previous experience. I told pretty much what I did in Brazil. You asked me what was my goal looking forward, if I wanted to grow within the company, or if I had another goal in mind. And I remember, like, telling you, like, I'm not gonna tell you something that it's not true.
Right.
My goal is to go into policing because that's what I did in Brazil, and I love it. But while I'm here, I want to do everything I can to do the best, right?
Right. Right.
And learn and grow as much as I can in here.
Yes.
And I remember you telling me, like, oh, that's good to know. We want to be a bridge to development.
Yes.
Not only for the company, but for whoever's here, right?
Yes.
For our own goals as well.
which I want to pause on that. I think that's pretty unique. I mean, that was years ago.
Right.
Constantine's kind of always been like that, where if he saw someone and they had a personal trajectory, they had an objective, whatever it is, that he always knew a way to not get in front of it. He knew how to kind of align and come alongside it.
Yeah.
So, and that I think surprises people because they think that, you know, I mean, he could recognize if that ambition was beyond what we did in our everyday, that they could still be a huge asset to what we did. Hence yourself. I mean,
Right.
yeah.
And I remember you telling me we had other people who came in and they became officers, and we love to be part of that story, right?
Right.
And as I said, I knew, like, this place is a good place to work because it was different from what I was expecting, right? And it was my first interview and my last in Canada.
Yeah.
The second one was for Peel.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember that you asked me, like, when would you be ready to work? And I said, now.
Yeah.
I said, all right, do you have a suit? Yep. So
Yeah.
I went, you showed me, like, you told me where brickworks were.
Yes.
And I pretty much, I went downstairs. I had like 2.5 hours probably. So I looked at the bus schedule and said, well, I can just walk. I walked in.
Wow. No.
I was just like, well, I have the time.
So Yorkville to Brickworks, I mean, it's a good walk.
It was
It's
a pretty good-
It's
pretty-
a beautiful walk, actually.
It was.
Yeah.
And again, I had been in Canada for a month, less than a month.
Yes.
So I was like, yeah, good chance to see downtown, see
Yeah.
see Toronto. Walked through a beautiful trail there.
Yeah, and you could probably safely hitchhike if you needed to, if someone would pick you up.
Yes. Yeah.
You don't really look like a victim. So
Yeah.
And I walked over there, and I remember getting there, and again, I had been in the country for a month, and first day in the job, so I'm all shy and like, you know, how do I start? Who do I talk to?
Yeah.
And I got there, and I remember I met Valerie.
Okay.
Valerie was the first person that I
Yeah.
met, and she was amazing.
Yeah.
She
Shout
showed
out
me
to
around.
Valerie.
yeah,
Valerie's great.
was and still is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
She showed me pretty much like before the shift, because she was early there. Showed me the place, explained to me like how the job would work, and a little after that, I met Mike there.
Yeah, I remember now.
and Nathan, who's here
Yes.
today as well. And I think you three were the first people that I've met in Sentinel after Constantine. And as I said, first day you're all like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to work around people here in Canada. I'm kind of soaking in, right?
Yeah.
And you guys are extremely supportive and welcoming, and it was a good first shift.
Yeah, I think it was pretty crazy. From what I remember, it was a huge beer festival or
Yep,
something.
exactly.
It might have been, and you jumped right in. You know, 100% jumped right in, and I remember thinking, I was whispering to some of the others, "Look at the new guy! Look at this guy just getting in there," and it was great, man.
Now, I want to pause for a second. You said a lot of things here. So first of all, let's go right into defining what work ethic is, and just looking at it. So I want everyone that's listening to this right now to really pay close attention here. Lucas did not come into a job living as a Canadian citizen. He came from a different country. And a lot of times, there's this entitlement element that a lot of people have where it's based on who I am. Lucas could have said, I'm a police officer in my home back town, Brazil. This is what I have on the plate here. This is what I expect. This is what I'm going to get into. Like, he could have had that attitude, but he possessed what we always push out, and that's humility. The humility guided him, okay? And I say that because that was something that was evident. Now, let's go back a couple of more steps. Interview process. We at Sentinel do not ask the generic questions that HR throw out. Yeah. Strengths, weaknesses, tell me about a story, all of that. All that you can rehearse. You can be an incredible actor and just shape that up. We're trying to find out your heart. We're trying to see, who are you? Are you an individual that can represent, that we can pour into? And he passed that with flying colors. And I want you guys to understand this, that the first step to kind of understanding is changing your mindset that you are here to demonstrate and showcase what you have, but you got to do that with your attitude first. And your attitude speaks everything. So I want to just say that as a side note, because a lot of people that are going to be listening to this are going to be like, oh man, look at Lucas. Like, he looks like the Terminator. Maybe that's the reason why he got on.
Yeah.
Look at him. Oh, maybe it's because he was a police officer. No, it was not because of that. Because we've hired people before in the company that have had policing experience, and we've had to let them go because their attitude sucked.
Yes.
Right?
I mean, if anything, it elevates the expectation associated. So if you look the part, speak the part,
Yes.
it elevates what you expect from them.
Right.
And some people, if they don't have the right attitude, if it's in stark contrast, it ends their days quicker.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Attitude is everything. As Simon Sinek says, we do not hire for skill, we hire for attitude. So let's go deeper into it right now. So you're doing a couple of shifts, you're meeting the people. What, for people listening right now, and they're saying, Lucas, but how? How do I become a police officer? If you look at your whole life to the point where you kind of came into the company and also to apply within the policing, what would you put that towards your attributes? Like, what these are, in my opinion, what I did to succeed. What would be that you would share with people if they're listening right now?
I think I don't want to take too long. The story
No, it's all good. We
goes
got time
back
to talk.
goes back a little while. I joined policing in Brazil in 2010. That was when I started. The whole process in Brazil, again, is very different. It's not like here. You do a test. That's everybody in the country can do that test. If you pass, you're into the process, and then you have a process that's sort of similar to here.
So everyone can pass this test.
Yep, anyone.
Like you don't need any qualifications to just jump
You
in.
need to go through like you have to have like a bachelor degree, for example.
Okay.
There are some requirements, but you do the test, and
Yes.
it's like, for example, on my intake, we had 750 officers coming in for our intake.
Right.
We had, I think, like, I don't know, 15,000 people who did the test.
Okay.
So
So the test is available. It's available
yeah,
to you. Yeah.
you pay a fee and you can do the test, and the people on the top will get called, and then you start the whole process, like physical, the whole psychological, everything, right? So I joined back then, different process, but my mindset has always been like, take things not day by day, but stage by stage. So right now, this is what I have to do. Let me learn as much as I can with this, and not think about the next step.
Right.
Not overthink. I have to plan, but not overthink. Every now and again in my life, I stop everything that I'm doing, and I plan for, I don't know, 5 years ahead of me. I lay down everything that I have to do, and then for the next 5 years, I don't have to overthink it. It's just walk the path. And I knew that I wanted to be a police officer in Brazil. I knew that that was sort of my calling, what I love to do. But at the same time, I knew that I didn't want to live in Brazil till retirement. I wanted to come.
Yeah.
The plan was either Australia or Canada
Yeah.
back then.
Oh, hey.
Wow.
Sorry, Aussies. Yeah.
In the end, Australia is just too far. I lived in Australia when I was 15 for a year.
Oh,
I
okay,
did
yeah.
a year of high school there.
Yeah.
And I love the country.
I can still hear the accent.
Yeah. Ashley used to tell me that I had a little bit of an Australian accent in the back. There, I don't see it, but
Yeah.
Australia.
Yeah.
But so we decided for Canada, and I looked into the process for the immigration process. It took me about 5 years from the day I decided to come to the day that I did come, because I had a bachelor degree. I did a college degree. I needed a new degree so I could get the points to be accepted in the process, right? And as I said, I laid down every step that I would have to take. Fortunately, we were accepted. We came in March 2019 for the first time. Got my driver's license, my license for security, and my license so I could apply for policing. Went back to Brazil, sold everything, rented the house, quit the job as a police officer, and in September I came for good. And the mindset was always so my plan was, in 3 months in Canada, I had to be working, and in 3 years, I had to be in policing.
Yeah.
That was like
Their goals.
my goal.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was what I was ready to, the path that I was expecting to walk.
Yes.
So when I applied, I remember looking at the Sentinel website, and I was like, "Wow, this looks fancy." Like it looks different.
That's
Yes.
a good way.
Yeah.
Fancy security.
Like it looks different, and it looks like it is. Sentinel is not a common security company. I know that this sounds like an advertisement. So
Cue that like upbeat rock music. We'll start
No, please continue. Please continue.
but it is the truth, man. And I could tell it by the interview. That's what I mean. Like I could see that the company was different. And it's a funny story. I called my mom, as I said, on my way down, my mom and my dad, and I told them about the interview and about the company. And their first thing is like, hope this is not a scam, because I told them it's different.
I love it, right? You gotta love parents. That's a universal thing, no matter where you're from. If you tell your parents you're excited about something that's different, it's like, be careful.
Yeah.
Right? It's a scam. It could be a cult. It could be.
That's true. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so funny.
So I knew that it was going to be different, and it was, right? When I joined Sentinel, my goal was, as I said, in everything that I go into, I want to help. I want to help build it up. And I remember on the interview, you shared with me the big vision of the company, right? What you guys were striving to do, and now we're seeing that, right? More and more every month you see those things happening, and that's something that for me it was like, okay, I want to help doing that however I can. And again, my plan when you said you're hired, you can start, in my head was like, okay, I'm 2 months early for my plan.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had been 1 month in Canada. I applied. So in 1
You
week.
owe him an apology.
I owe you my thanks.
Right? He messed his plan up.
No. So I was thinking like, okay, I had a month that was pretty much off. I was just doing some minor stuff.
Yeah.
And then when I applied, in a week I was hired. So I was like, okay, I'm early. Thank God.
Right.
So then I thought, okay, I have 3 years to be in policing. That was my mindset, right? And it's a weird feeling when you come to a country that's not your own. Even though I cannot tell how much I was welcomed into Canada in every way and aspect that I could describe.
Yeah,
but
that's awesome.
I think the good analogy is, think of a family member that you don't know that well.
Yes.
Sort of a distant family member, and you go over to his house to stay for like 2 weeks.
Right.
And you go in, and they tell you like, "Oh, make yourself at home," but you don't know the rules. You don't know how to.
Right.
You know how to.
Right.
You don't know if you should open the fridge or not.
Right.
You know.
Right.
You don't know how to act.
Right.
Yes.
And that was my mindset when I was in. I was like, how do I react here?
Right.
Yeah.
Like
A new
in the
environment.
Yeah. And again, I worked with people, talking to people in Brazil, and I came into security. I was going to talk to people, right? And be a, what's the word? Represent a company.
Yes.
So, and for me, that carries weight, right? I can't say whatever comes to my mind. I have
Right.
to be proper. So my first shifts, I remember that I felt very like shy in a way, you know, like I don't know what I'm doing. I have to, and that was good in a sense because I was trying to soak in as much as I could. I would observe everyone, like, okay, this is how he does it. This is, you know, this is how you should treat someone. You know, this is how you because again, my main concern was like I have to be overly polite. And that's 99% of the interactions in security. I think that's true.
Yes,
But
yes.
there's that 1%,
Right.
right? Where you can't be over
That's
you
right.
know,
That's right.
polite.
Yeah.
And that 1%, for me, the threshold, I didn't know what was the threshold
Right.
Yeah, that's
because of the culture.
Yes.
And I learned a lot by watching. All of you guys. Oscar was a great teacher.
Yes. Shout
Yes.
out to Oscar.
Oscar's amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody else I would just watch. And from that, I started applying for police.
Yes.
I applied for two services.
Yes.
In December 2019. Again, my plan was I'm gonna get called for an interview.
Yeah.
Maybe they're gonna tell me what to work on. 3 years, and
Yeah.
that's my plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in April 2020, I was signing my you know
Yeah.
my papers to join.
And you know what the funny thing is? I can say this for a lot of people in the company, that when you know, and what I mean by that is that I knew your time with us was going to be very, very small. Like, I knew this. And I can tell that for a lot of people in the company that are currently with us right now, because I know their aspirations. And again, as you said, I mean, some people might think it's crazy thinking. What do you mean you're going to bring someone in, you're going to train them just to lose them somewhere else? Well, it's kind of like our passion, right? And to see is like, if that is ultimately a goal of yours, go for it. My goal, I mean, was to get into policing. And then I very quickly had a career shift when I got into social work. And at the end of the day, when I see just how much the moves are to kind of get into certain places, I'm like, man, I want to help people get into that. Like, you know what I mean? So it's for me, like, to see your story right now, and there's several people that also share a similar story to yourself, which we're going to be hearing over the weeks and all, is amazing. It's inspiring. But a lot of it comes down to you as an individual and how you looked at it. Again, another tip here or lesson here is observing and seeing other people in their element, right? Which also speaks to just, again, for anyone that's working in any environment, you want to make sure you surround yourself around people that are better than you or people that are on the same thinking of you, right? Because if you're gonna try to get better in basketball, you don't want to play against someone that can't play that well. You want to try to play against the best because they'll help you get better. Mm-hmm. And we're not calling ourselves the best. I just want to throw that out there. What I'm trying to say is I'm challenging anyone that's looking to better themselves. Surround yourselves around people that are going to motivate you, that are going to push you, and they're going to help you get quicker to your goals.
Mm-hmm. I had a coach in high school who said, if you want to get better, be the worst on the court.
That's good, man.
Yeah,
That's
be the
amazing.
worst.
Yeah.
Find the
Yeah.
court that you're the worst. That
Right.
you literally can never take a moment to rest. You're trying always in a state of learning. That hyper sense of like, I can never cruise here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the second I take it easy or if I don't bring my best, I'm going to get flatlined. I think that's a place to live.
Yeah.
There's something there. I mean, it's really tough to kind of stay in that in the long haul, but there's no reason why you can't. I love that you didn't break it just by day. You brought it like basically a season. Mm-hmm. Like, what is this season? There's always something that you should be challenging yourself, self-imposed.
Yes.
Right? And you say, you know what, in this season, I'm going to maybe learn this language, take on this, acquire this new skill set, open up my creative juices that I used to do before when I was 14. I'm going
Yeah.
to start doing that again. And like, because otherwise it's just a day.
That's right.
And it goes and it comes and it goes. And how many Netflix series can you watch before, you'll never be full.
That's right.
And they'll never run out of series. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really cool. I wanted to say on the thing what you were saying
Yeah, man.
earlier. This is the truth. When it takes honesty to say that you're okay for someone to come in, to kill it, and then go on.
Right.
Okay? Because you're also being honest that the company at this point can't essentially provide them everything that they need.
That's correct.
Right? Because you just said if their aspiration supersedes what we can offer
That's right.
as a company, you have to be honest there.
Right.
There's two choices. It's, okay, like, don't let Lucas see the light outside of here.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Try to change your mind. Try
Right.
to change your opinion. Try to, like, lure you about something in the private industry. No, it can't be. It needs to be, it takes some serious honesty to be like, look, where you are right now in this season, you are meant to grow beyond what we can offer.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And I think people trust that. You know, yesterday, Lucas, is actually really cool. We had a guy, we'll just call him M. He came in, gave his resignation, and he came in and brought in his uniform, and he kind of hugs all around because he's going into policing. Okay, and his first day is Monday. And we had someone who was being trained, a new Sentinel cadet, who also has the same name as him.
Yes.
Who came in and an hour previous had said to Dragon, remember, shout out to Dragon, and said to Dragon eye to eye, he goes, I will be police here. And that guy's story, coming from his home country, he was a refugee. His family fled in the night through the hills, escaping bullets overhead. Like, literally, like this whole crazy story to come to Canada and to not have literally that entitled mindset.
Yeah.
There's something about one going in and one coming in. And they both had the same goal, so it's pretty amazing. So we're in like really enjoying. This has been happening here for years.
Yeah.
But now we kind of woke up to it of late and thought, you know what, this is like an amazing story that keeps repeating.
Yeah, let's highlight it.
Yeah, that we want to spotlight it. So, hence why you're here.
And also, I want to throw shout out to Brazil because we have some incredible Brazilians that literally all came in just like Lucas. And they're part of the organization.
Banana way.
They are amazing. So I'm actually, honestly, I'm being dead serious here. I want to find a way to penetrate Brazil and go down there and just say, come into Toronto. We'll take care of you.
Yeah.
I'll help you guys with that.
All right. Listen,
We've talked about that
you just
before,
got your
right?
airport covered.
I know. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. So right now, someone's listening to this and they're hearing the journey. Can you say or give any words? When you work with Sentinel, I mean, you obviously had already an impressive background and experience. Do you find it was the work that you did with us as an organization, do you find that it helped you prepare yourself for your interview with Peel?
Absolutely. As I said, what I gained the most, first of all, how to deal with the culture, how to talk to people in Canada, because it's a different game. It is. It's not. People have that perception that in Brazil the police is going to be walking around kicking people. It's not. It's not like that at all.
Right.
It's pretty close.
Yeah.
But it does change the way you talk to people. I had to learn what is proper and what it's not. And one thing interesting about Sentinel.
No, I laugh because there's people who've lived here their whole life and they don't know that.
Yeah.
Right? They're not paying attention to it.
But I think that's the main thing, not paying attention. I remember when I came, again, in Brazil, I worked for most of my career in anti-riot, right?
Yes.
And for you to join anti-riot, you have to go through a course that takes from 2 to 3 months. And it's not easy to go through.
Yeah.
It's the police in Brazil is militarized.
Right.
So it's a course that you have to go beyond what's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
Right?
good way of
Yes.
saying it.
Yeah.
It's not it's
So you're not in the class with your laptop,
Oh,
your
no.
earbuds, and with a caramel macchiato.
that
It's like-
does not happen. That did
Yeah.
never happen. And one of the things, like, you go through things that are, they try to push you to make you stay in the zone that you're uncomfortable for those 60 days. You don't sleep as much. You don't eat. You drink a lot. They let you drink water,
Right.
but you don't eat a lot. You're always cold, or you're always sleep deprived, and they always push you to that part of it. Push you to that side.
Yes.
And it's really interesting. After going through the course, I was able to instruct in a couple of them. I was able to be instructor, and you start to learn who's who, right? The way they behave. And one really interesting thing in Sentinel, again, because of the people you have lots of people with very interesting backgrounds and experiences. You get to understand. I loved the fact that when we had harder shifts, shifts that were like the client, we have to be there for a long period of time, and you have to be standing and talking to people, and people sometimes are not that friendly, and that's when I would observe, like, because that's when you see, like, this, let's say this guy, he starts to complain a little bit. This one is solid, so I want to learn for this guy.
Wow.
Okay, you're consciously doing this.
Yeah. I was, because again, in Brazil, I was able to see that. Like, this is the guy that he's going to be good at this. So here I was watching those people. And again, you guys, I think the amount of good people you have here. And I would just watch those people and learn as much as I could.
You'd pull away from the negative. You'd pull away from anybody that was
Exactly.
presuming negative, because there was negative mindset.
Yeah, exactly. And for the course, again, that's where you learn through military courses. People who are negative, they're the ones who quit the course. Because their own mind tells them to quit. Right?
Yes.
And it's a good learning tool, because after that you apply it to everywhere. You're gonna get close to people who are not negative, who don't see things as, always on the negative side, and they have more fun. They're more fun to be around. It's easier to be around those people, and you learn with those people, right? And it's incredible. Those people usually are competent at what they do.
It's funny, people who have a light, I guess, countenance can do heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I always thought that when it's like, oh, it's all good. It's always meant the weather, and they don't make those little things of every day really weigh them down.
Yeah.
When difficult things come, they can do heavy lifting. They have the capacity. I think it's amazing you're taking note of it, that you're navigating. And I guess, to the audience, as Constantine's been saying earlier, you didn't have time to waste.
Yeah.
The sacrifice to make a major change, going from one country, a different continent to this continent, to try to learn the culture, to get immersed. And it's amazing that you say that you were like really shy and reserved and trying to, but at the same time you were very strategic and stealthily like learned what you need to learn to move forward and move forward and move forward. Hence why, like, I mean, if I always, I love those examples because it's like an intentional growth. Like you take everything that you have, and it's not just that que sera, sera. Like, you know, whatever's going to be is going to be. It's like, no, I'm going to make this. I'm going to carve this. I'm going to maximize what's happening right now, even if it's just a shift along the way. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And there are no just shifts, right? When
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on.
No, we're gonna go deep right now. We're gonna
Hold
go deep.
on.
Go. I like where you're going right now.
when you see, and I think that's in policing, that's in everything. When you see anything like it's just, you know, another day, as you're saying, you start watching Netflix and you just waste your life. Nothing significant when you live like that. You don't have experiences. You just go through in auto mode, and you don't have experiences in your life. When you go through a shift that you think it's just a shift, you're gonna feel miserable. First of all, you're not gonna be focused on what you're doing, and the client is gonna see. He's gonna notice.
You know, I think you do have experiences, but they're not experiences that enrich you, that give you anything. So your experiences will be flatlined.
You're almost numb to it.
Yeah, exactly. And then what's interesting is it reinforces to you that this is just a shift.
Yep.
It doesn't matter here.
Yeah.
You know, the grass is greener there. My wife, she's amazing at the opportune time, putting her phone in front of my face and showing me these quotes. If you're on social media, sometimes they have quotes.
Yes, they do. A lot of them.
And this one, this one quote said, "It's generally thought that the grass is greener on the other side. The truth is, the grass is greener where you water it." It says, "Take note of that."
Right.
Okay.
Right. That's true.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Isn't that amazing?
Funny thing, yesterday I worked a shift from 3 to 3, so 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. last night.
Right.
And my whole shift was with one guy. We took like all the calls were together, right?
Yeah.
And at one time we were in a hospital in Brampton, people helping someone, and we were there for like, I don't know, 6 hours. And when we were leaving, he said, like, dude, did you notice that everybody was extremely nice to us this whole night? Like the whole night, everybody was extremely nice to us. And I think it plays in a sense a part in what we're talking about. You're present. You're not just like, and then you start engaging with people. You're not just wasting your time, just waiting for the time to pass so you can go home. So you're talking to people, you're engaging, and that first enriches the experience for yourself and makes you better at what you do. And I think that's for policing, for private security, for anything. If you just wait, if you're just watching the clock and waiting for the time to go by, you're wasting your time, and you're wasting the company's time, and you're wasting the client's time.
Right. And you're also, without you knowing it, pulling yourself further away from any goals that you have.
Yes.
Or anything good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to quote Dragon. We keep quoting some of our amazing people.
Yeah.
We were just talking about this yesterday, how he said sometimes he'd be at a shift and he's about to start and he would just look at the building and he'd think, I don't want to go in there. Right? And if everyone can relate to that. Just the thought of like, man. And he said that he would, in his own little way, give himself his own little pep talk. I don't know what he did or how he did it. Maybe he listened to Avril Lavigne, maybe like Miley Cyrus, whatever it was, right? You know, I get knocked down. No. And but he would basically tell himself, pull up your pants, man. Quiet that and get in there. And he would make a focused effort to be even better because he didn't feel good. And this is where feelings can be really deceptive. I just don't feel like that. Or I just don't really feel like I love her anymore. And like all those things, like we have more control over that stuff. Okay. And what he would do is, I'll say it quick. He would tell himself, pull up your pants, get in there. Okay. Not literally, guys, figuratively. And he said those were the best days.
Yeah.
So when he's training people, he tells them the story that those were the days because the present is a gift and you get something when you don't want to and you still go through, something happens, man. Like it's like a little mental notch. It's a little victory. It's experience. He says, you know what? I'm capable of more. I didn't just let the day wash over me and it sucked. It's like, no, it started, at some point it started to shine, started to feel great. You know, so I think I always kind of go to his example. He has a great way of sharing it, that those times when you feel like you just don't want to, you push through, they're almost like monumental moments,
Right.
right?
And that's going back to the military training. I don't mean to say I'm a special ops or anything like that, but it was a interesting training, and I was able to go through that training with people with really, really good experience in other courses, special ops in the jungle in Brazil, and all sorts of people. And I asked once, what was the worst course you've ever done? And he said, this one. And I said, really? Why? And he said, because it's now. Because I'm going through. And after you go through, and then
That's great.
the memories are great. It's like you just laugh about it, right?
Right.
And I made friends who we have a WhatsApp group to this day, and I know that if I need anything in Brazil, they're there for me. We become, there's a bond that's different. And again, 60 days. If I look back on it, there wasn't one single day when I came in saying like, "Oh, this is going to be a great day." I knew that it was going to be a day of like just being pressured and pressured and pressured and yelled at and getting, water on top of my head, cold water, jumping in a swimming pool with ice, sleeping in class and being dragged out. It wasn't going to be fun, but as soon as the day's done and you're going home, it's like, I've done this. A lot of people, they don't even try. A lot of people, they're scared to even, just in their mind, let me try this. They're not. They're too afraid.
Right.
And it is an amazing feeling to all scales. It may be a course, it might be your day, it might be people who, again, in policing, you deal with all sorts of people, and people do live through harsh tragedies out there.
Right.
And the hardest the day it is, at the end when you go through it, the biggest, the victory
biggest
over
reward,
it. The reward is greater because you've gone through something that most people wouldn't.
It makes it sweet.
Right.
Yeah.
Isn't it weird? Like the
Exactly.
bitter moments make it sweet after.
And fun fact, you're talking about Dragon. Dragon was the one that I was thinking about people that you see, because again, he's in management, right?
Yes.
So it's not just the headaches of the day itself. He's dealing with more stuff. And there were days that I knew that he'd be frustrated with what he had to deal with. And every time, the sweetest guy ever.
Yeah.
Great
You know what's
attitude.
funny, what you're saying right now? So I want to just go back into just when you were saying about gravitating towards people that will challenge you, motivate you, and also learning from. There was a gentleman that we hired a couple of years back, and he was a military guy. Lots of experience in the military. And I remember he came onto the company, and the very first thing we started noticing is his attitude was just terrible. Okay, it was just a terrible attitude. And he would connect with people, but he also started to kind of just try to find issues with everything. And I remember one time we hired another person, and this was her first week on the job. And shout out to her. I'm not going to throw the name out right now, but anyways, they were working together, and he observed one of our management teams, and he said, "Look at that person. What does that guy have? Like, honestly, look at me. I have all these years of experience. How did they make that guy a manager?" And the person looked to him
Who's brand new? The person who's brand
new, and said to him, "If that is your attitude, it's probably the reason why you're not in management or as a supervisor."
Yeah.
And then he never spoke to her again. Okay. And I say that
Out of the mouth of babes.
So again,
And by babe,
it's-
I mean young, not by girl.
It's just so important. I want people that are listening to understand it doesn't matter about your experience. It doesn't. Most police agencies, as an example, I know this, they don't like hiring people that have all this stuff because they come in with a know-it-all attitude.
Yep.
And you really get to see that all the time. So I think it's very, very commendable of you to kind of express that today, because at the end of the day, if people are listening to this, if you truly want to get that is a huge, huge piece of the pie, and that is align yourself with people that will challenge and move you, okay? Your story is inspiring, man. It's inspiring,
Thank
okay?
you.
And you know what the funny thing is? You're just getting started. You
Yeah.
are just getting started.
Yeah.
So, like, if you look at someone like Kobe Bryant, who came into the league and he's just started being, wow, who is this guy? He ends up being one of the best ever, right? And to me, we can go a little bit deep into you further, Lucas, about now that you're in policing, do you have any? What are your next level goals? We got your goals of getting a job. We got your goals of getting into policing. Have you set any other goals for yourself right now to say I want to hit those?
Yeah, let us help you smash those
because
timelines.
because I know, I'm pretty sure you have goals, and the thing is, this is also again so important for now. What we're about to hear his answer. Hopefully, he has goals. But the answer is this: you can never ever settle. You settle, you're going to be that guy that got drafted into the NBA. Okay, Rafael Arujo. If you guys know who that was, Brazilian. Okay, he came in, and wow, he made it into the NBA. He made it. He got drafted. What was he, like the first or second draft? Something crazy.
He was high.
He was high.
He was a first round for Toronto, but he was...
Yeah, and guess who got dropped the year after? Rafael Arujo, out of the NBA, because he settled, right? And sometimes he never had goals to kind of go to the next level, right?
Yeah, which happens.
Yes.
Yeah, some people they get to a point and then there's nothing else.
That's right.
Yeah.
So what are some goals that you aligned yourself in right now?
So
That you can share.
That you
no,
can
yeah,
share?
I can share.
Yes.
Everything is good. Personally, the next part would be from day one. My plan in coming to Canada was not, me and my wife were not the focus. The focus was my daughter, right? I have a 3-year-old, 3.5-year-old girl, and our main goal was her. So the professional side is just one side of it. For me, like, I love what I do. It's a big part of my life, but it is something. It's almost like a foundation for something bigger, something more important. So my family and my daughter, that's like the main thing.
Yes.
So even though I love my work, my job is it's there to enable me to provide something to my family.
That's right.
So my goal pretty much now is getting a house,
Yes.
buying my own house,
Yes.
and focusing on raising my daughter.
Yes.
We have before she was born, and we knew that we were coming to Canada. We already had the plans. Like, okay, when she's 6 or 7, when she's able to understand and remember things, we're gonna take her back to Brazil and show her not only where we live, because I can say, like, I had a comfortable life. I wasn't rich at all, but I was middle class, and I don't have any sob stories about my life.
Yeah.
But I was able to work in some places that are like that heartbreaking. I don't want to be too graphic, but one story that comes to mind, and this I went through not as in policing, but through the church that I would attend. We went to a place where this lady, she lived with 2 kids in a shack made of trash.
Yes.
Right. And we walked in, and she had like a cage, one of those bird cages in the ground.
Yes.
And she had 2 big rats inside the cage.
Wow.
And we walk in, and you look at that, and it's like, oh my God, what is that for?
Yeah.
And it was dinner, because there's no money for food, and she
goodness.
couldn't work because of the kids, and there's no one else to help. And I want my daughter to understand
Wow.
that this goes on in the world.
Yes.
So she doesn't think that everything that that we want to provide to her is free.
Right.
Yeah.
There's nothing free in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
And
so
to, and to be
amazing,
really
man.
grateful.
Yeah.
Yep.
To have gratitude. for
And
what you do
not
have.
only be grateful and work for things.
Right.
There's nothing's free. No one's gonna give you nothing for free, right?
Right.
And there are people there who are struggling, and they're suffering, right? And the world is a bigger place than we think.
Right.
I want to show her that. That's I think family wise, not family, because my wife is number one.
Yes.
But for my daughter, my plan is to raise her in a way that, so she can become a good person.
Right.
She already is, right?
Right. I know exactly what you're saying. Look, it's actually, I would kind of label it as this entitlement aspect that a lot of people have, right? Where it's like, no, if you actually see the journey, right? This is why I mean, like, a lot of people that come into North America, I find that their story is so different. They come in with hunger because they came out of something that we've never experienced in our North American comfortable life You know what I mean? Where, I mean, I say comfortable. I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about the fact that we have access to healthcare. We have access to resources. We have access to so many things that people
Slurpees, Lazy Boy
don't.
channels.
Well, yeah, all that stuff, right?
800 channels
Yeah.
and streaming. Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay.
But you have that. So to me, that's amazing that you want to instill that, man. And that to me is something that I even myself, when I look at my kids, is I want to instill to them what the work ethic element is, and understanding what you have here is all based on a surrounding of work that came into the picture. It wasn't there. An iPad did not just land into the laps.
Yep.
You know what I mean? The people. It's just crazy, man, to think that. So to me, to have that experience as your foundation, that's amazing. So for anyone that's again listening to this right now, what would be words of wisdom that you would give to them and say, do this and it will help. And again, I know we're talking a lot about policing stuff today, but we're not even just reflecting on just the mindset of policing. It's the mindset of just being a good person and also just achieving things in your life, and whether that be through relationship goals, job goals, whatever that may be. What would be some advice that you would give someone?
I hope I'm in a position to give advice about this, but my thing is pretty much like, try to learn. Don't think you know things. Don't have that mindset that you know things. That you know everything, because as you said, like, people, when I went to Peel, I remember when I went out on the road. One of the guys who was in the same course as me, he said he worked in corrections for a while, and he asked me, "Man, you had experience in Brazil, and policing does make." There are a lot of people who get a little bit. I don't know if the word is right, the English Portuguese thing, not
Yes.
jaded, but they get like.
Yeah.
They get hardened by
Yes.
the years.
Yeah.
Yes. Right?
Yeah.
And he asked you, how come you're all, you're smiling
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and all that.
One way to say is calloused.
Calloused.
Yes, yes,
Perfect.
yes.
Perfect. And for me, the idea is, I've never seen myself as a guy who, as I said, I look for guys who are good, and I don't see myself as like, okay, I know what I'm doing. I'm the dude here. I'm the guy, because I honestly don't think I am. When I as I said, I look for the guys who are good, and I aspire to get to that position. And if I do by any chance, then I'll look for the next one. I don't want to sound like I'm using people, but I mean, like, I always have someone to aspire to learn from. So I don't see myself as, I didn't come here and see myself as like, okay, I had experience in Brazil. I did, but at the same time, I lived for 35 years in a different country. I don't know the culture. I don't know the laws, the everyday life, like someone who has no experience in policing does.
You're choosing to empty your cup.
Yeah.
That's what it means.
And
if you have a full cup, there's nothing to add to it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think, like, overall, for me at least, I think that's the most helpful thing for me, professionally or whatever. What happened for me to get to Canada was a lot of research and a lot of learning with people who did it before me, right? Because again, the process to come to Canada, to migrate to Canada, is not easy. And I just tried to learn as much as I could with people who did it. And that's pretty much what I try to do with everything. When I did the anti-riot course, I looked for people who did it, and I asked, like, what did you do? How was it? What do I need to do? And nowadays, you're asking about goals inside the job. I want to first of all learn about how policing really works here, the investigative bureaus or whatever.
Yes.
I know that, in my opinion, the place that I would use the most of my experience would be TAC here.
Okay.
But for me to apply to TAC, it would be a while,
Yes.
and let's see what happens until then, because I want to learn about the places that I have no experience with, and see if it's something that that I fall in love with. But right now, if you could ask me, I would like to be in TAC, right? So in my shift, I have 2 former tech guys. So every chance I have, I ask them,
Yeah.
what did you do? How was the training? How was the
You share your apple with them so you can sit and talk.
Yes.
And,
yeah exactly.
I want to ask you, if, there's many ways to get there. If someone says like, okay, I want to get in better shape, right? Then there's, what's like the first step that you would give them? I apply that for mindset. If it was like, okay, I hear some things you guys are saying, I feel
So, you're talking about
challenged.
physical shape or mental shape?
Mental now. So
Okay.
switching that and kind of applying that to like how you would physically. Someone just says like, where do I start? So for mindset, where does someone start? Someone's heard this, they've been challenged. They think, okay, like I do suffer from that stuff. Okay, I need to eat a little bit more humble pie. My mistakes are my mistakes. Okay, they actually have a moment like that. Now, where do they start? What do they do?
Funny, when you asked that question, I thought about the physical side, but it's I think they're pretty much connected. First of all, I think like I know that this sounds very zen, but try to empty yourself. Try to think less of yourself a little bit. We're always talking about self-esteem, and that's very important. But at the other side of the coin is you have to love yourself. You do, but you have to see that you're one in I don't know 7 billion. So you're gonna be good at something, but you're not gonna be good at a lot of things, and there are gonna be a lot of people who are good at that. If you want to learn. Stop thinking that you're good at everything. And the second part that I think it's very, very important is don't feel too sorry about yourself for anything. Like know that you're capable of way more than your mind thinks you are, and that goes for the physical side. My brother's a big guy. I'm the small guy in the family. He's a big
fine.
dude.
Is he in Brazil?
No, he's in the U.S.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's an IT. He works with IT.
Yeah.
Send him over here. Send him over here. We can meet-
He used to
And he works in IT. That's good. Yeah.
bodybuilder at one point.
Yeah.
MMA fighter, amateur at one point.
Wow, yeah.
Sang in a metal band at one point. Very interesting guy.
Yeah.
And he's
Well-rounded.
huge.
Sounds like, yeah.
But one thing that I learned with him, at one point he sort of like coached me into. He was a bodybuilder. I never intended to do that, but I wanted to gain some weight and get in a better physical state. And the sets that it would send to me, like do this, do that. There, you can't feel sorry about yourself. You can't be in the middle of the way you eat or the way you work out. You can't be like, oh my God, this is too heavy. I can't do it. You have to go past that, and that's for everything in life. I think that if you think like, oh my God, I'm suffering and this is too hard, you have to just forget about that. Forget about feeling sorry for yourself.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this, man. You are a breath of fresh air. Okay, Lucas, I want to thank you so much for coming down today.
Thank you.
I know your story is going to inspire many, many people. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't inspire those, then maybe this career is not for you. But you need to shift your mind. There's a lot of stuff that you really need to hear this. Maybe listen to 2 or 3 times just to kind of let it penetrate. But I want to thank you for coming down today. We're definitely going to stay connected. And I want to say this. Are you planning going to Brazil anytime soon? Or
So actually, today would be my first day in vacation.
Oh, really?
I'll
yeah.
have to be back at the 29th for court.
Okay.
But I'm going to be out for a little while. We are thinking about going to Brazil, but with the COVID thing and
Yeah.
the borders and the prices are
Crazy now. Eh?
crazy. So
You can always walk, right?
swim.
that for
Well,
sure.
well, I'll say this: the next time outside of that you're planning on going down there, I really want to have some talks with you because I want to see if we can do some representation. Honestly, in Brazil, because I think there's a lot of people that can share your story that want their ticket out, and they're just looking for that opportunity to help them get there. And I would love to be part of that, man.
And right now we have a WhatsApp group. We have in total 14 Brazilians who their plan is. Most of them police officers in Brazil who want to come to Canada and go
For
into
real?
policing. Yeah,
Yeah.
most of them.
Okay.
Me, myself, and another guy are already in Peel. 2 officers in Peel. We have Lucio and Bruno.
Yes.
Here
Yes.
on the long term,
Yes.
they want at some point
Yeah.
go into policing, and I have a bunch of people who are in Brazil. Great experience. guys with way more experience than I had.
Can they empty their cup?
I think
all
so.
that matters.
I think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
And I told them about the company, and
Yeah.
they at some point I think they will reach out to you guys.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well, we're gonna
if I
plan
can
that.
help.
Yeah, man, 100%.
I think when you say that, what that means is, if you can see someone else did it before you,
yes,
it really helps.
100%.
You know, you're
it
from
becomes real.
Yeah, you're from a neighborhood.
Yeah.
That person, went to Harvard.
Yes.
Okay, it's like, oh, they're from my school.
Right.
They're from my high school. You can actually get in.
Right.
You know, or whatever. They went into marine biology, or they're on this sports team now, or what. It's good to hear those stories.
That's right.
And I think the more that you can share it, you just never know who it strikes a chord. Tupac has a great line. He was, I think, 19 or 20, and he was being interviewed, and he goes, "I may not change the world, but I'm going to spark the mind that does."
Yeah,
Right?
that's
Like,
good,
think-
man.
It's pretty amazing.
That is amazing.
Right. So, if you, and I hope Lucas sparked a bunch of you that are listening today, and
He did.
Yeah.
He did. And I will have some polished Portuguese next time we're on the show.
oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Lucas, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate your
Thank you,
time,
guys.
man.
Yeah. Thank you.
And yeah, can't wait for this to go out.
Yeah, all the best to everything you're doing, man. And if you
Yeah.
need us in any way, shape, or form to help, let us know.
And the same.
Yeah.
Like whatever you guys need.
Perfect.
I'm here.
Amazing.
All right.
All right, guys.
Well, that's a
Thank
wrap.
you.
All right.
All right, buddy.
Peace.
This podcast is brought to you by Executive Protection Lifestyle Canada. Make sure to drop by next week and don't forget to subscribe.